Today's goal is to get as much of this little small stuff done as we can in the engine bay here, making sure everything is buttoned up. So let's just dive right into it. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. Like I said, we got a lot of little small things to do today, a lot of buttoning up to try to get done. And so first things first, I just can't help myself. We got the new blow-off valve in, and I want to put it together and of course put on some of our custom Blurple titanium jazz. Now, I had a blue one because many moons ago, whenever this whole thing started, I wanted to go a different route with everything, but as things changed, time went on, color schemes and whatnot has since changed, obviously, and so, yeah, went ahead and went with a black one. I think this Blurple stuff is going to look absolutely insane on here against this black. So let's go ahead and start taking out some little bolts and putting in some fancy ones, and yeah. All right, first one. I don't want to show all of it because it might be a little bit boring, but we aren't even close to being finished yet, and already I can tell you that yes, this black was the move. Oh, it looks so good against there. It'll match the valve cover perfectly. Next up is the clamp that goes on the blow-off valve and the piping. So we'll go ahead and get out these guys. I love that this kit includes, you know, everything that you would need to replace. Everything that is replaceable or is like movable is replaceable. Perfect. Now, we got to add the little top piece here where the vacuum line goes. And that's basically it. We can pop this thing on the car and drool for a little bit. One washer, the fitting, two washer, and we thread. Boom. I'm probably going to turn this thing this way to run the vacuum line back towards the motor because I want the tile to be able to be red. That way we can always adjust that. No big deal. I'm just trying to get it squared away right now. But yes, yes. Ugh, I know it's just a blow-off valve, but my goodness, this looks so good. The black was the move. Let's put this thing on the car. Okay, went ahead and got the thing sitting on there. It was a little bit tricky to get like the clamp, the little O-ring that comes with it, and then the blow-off valve on there at the same time. But we got it on there. Now I'm just going to snug everything down. This thing is a beaut. Try to line it up with the piping there. Tiles right in line. I love it. All right, that thing is locked down. I'm gonna put all the hardware and all that kind of stuff back in the box and hang on to that. You never know when you might need it. We'll put this stuff in there. That's some spring pressure and spring information. I chose the 11 pound. We'll see if that works out. We may have to change it later on, but that won't be that big a deal. But for right now, it is an 11 pound spring on there. And so, all right, next I need to do the return to the oil pan and all that kind of stuff. We got new hardware, new washers, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna go through, figure out these part numbers and where they go on the little chart here. And we should be able to pop this thing on, no issues. So we got this new gasket here. This is how the line goes. This goes to the oil pan. Gasket goes right here. We have two new hardware bolts, and then they have these little washers that have like a rubberized like seal around them. Those go onto these bolts. And so we'll have to get these things installed, and then we can go mount this thing up right to the oil pan. Just like that. And then let's go pop this thing on. While I don't have a fantastic way to show you this, that little piece of masking tape right there is where this thing is gonna have to go. So let me get myself situated. I tend to, when I'm under the car, I'm always like, I don't wanna block your view, and then I block your view. But I don't have much else of a choice. I'm gonna slide you right here. Now, how in the F? See, you know, all this stuff right here that we've been putting on, this freaking catch can, that fitting goes, I mean, directly in the middle of where this return line is supposed to go. I'm gonna take it off of here real quick, and we're gonna see if we can get this thing on here without it, and then we'll just have to install it later and go from there, because right now it looks like it's blocking I mean, literally everything. It's like right in the middle of where it's supposed to go. So now see, I was a little bit worried about something like this. I had to remove the starter and the lower intercooler piping to get this thing on there. I thought I should have done this a long time ago, but I thought maybe I could get it on there without any issue. But yeah, turns out had to take off all that stuff, which is not a big deal, just a little bit of a pain. I should have put this on whenever I had the turbo kit on, or whenever I was putting on the turbo kit. But anyway, we're gonna snug this down with a torque wrench and we should be good to go. And there we have it. The brand new OEM oil return line from the turbo to the oil pan is installed. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the little blue paint pen and we'll mark those bolts because those are torqued down to spec, and then we can put on this starter again. I thought that was gonna bite me in the booty cheeks whenever I saw that. I was like, there's an awful lot of stuff under there that's already installed and this might be a little bit of a tight fit. But it wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm gonna go on here, find the starter torque specs again, and then we'll torque that thing back down. And there we go, 23 plus or minus 2 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 24 and we can lock it down. Starter goes right about here. And there we go. Thread, 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 thread. All right, torque wrench, let's get you locked. Doink. And there we have it. I think the next thing on the list that I want to do is go through and we'll tighten down all of our brake lines in there. I have yet to snug those down, but we'll go through. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. So we'll go through, tighten those down, mark them with the pen, and that'll be done on the list. So per finishing lines, that's the brand of these brake lines. We're gonna go through, tighten everything down hand tight, which they all already should be, but we'll double check that. We'll tighten them 1/4 to 1/2 a turn. And then once we get some fluid in there, we'll pump the brakes, go back, check all the connections, all that kind of stuff, make sure there's no leakage and or seepage. And then if there is, we'll tighten it 1/4 turn at a time until that stops or it goes away. But that should ensure that we get them tight and sealed and we don't over tighten anything. So let's go through, check all these lines and get them snugged. All right, so it might not seem like it, but since I went through and tightened down all those brake lines, we have been knocking stuff off the list left and right. Going through, making sure some bolts are tight, making sure fittings are good, all that kind of stuff. Just been kind of going through there and knocking it all out. Now, I did decide that I do want to order some longer 5mm or 6mm vacuum line for this blow-off valve. I wanted to run it, there's a fitting I have in the back here, and the lines I got sent and the stuff I have left over just doesn't reach that far. And so I'm gonna order some more of that. That's not a big deal right now, but I did wanna run that back into there and hide that and keep it kind of hidden. We'll go down and under to keep that out of the way. And then I have been looking and talking to some people about these lines on the valve cover here to make use of these 10N fittings on the side and kind of clean this up a little bit, because I'm not sure if you watched the last video or not, but this thing right here, I just do not like. It looks stupid. So we're gonna try and alleviate that and make things a little bit better up here. But next up on the list, I do believe, is taking care of these cans right here. I need to remove some fittings on the bottom and put some paste on there and get those things locked back down and good to go to run the lines. All right, let's get this thing on there. I would like for it to point this way whenever it's done tightening, but I don't know that I have control over that. No, I do not. I do not have control over where that thing tightens. I wish it didn't tighten right there. That's pretty tight right there. I think we got it where I wanted it to. I didn't think I would get that a whole other turn, I gotta be honest with you. Well, let's get the power steering tank one off and we'll do the same to it. All right, tanks are good. I gotta make a hose from this fitting right here to this line right here with that green tape on it. Gotta make one to go right there. I don't have one for that. And it's discontinued, of course, but we're gonna let that paste and stuff set up and we'll move on from that. So we'll go over here to this side. Next up on my little list here is to take care of some wiring and stuff here. Interesting story about this cable right here that's been cut, but we need to replace this power wire. This one was a little bit too short for how I wanna run it now, so we got another one, a big 20-foot long one. So we'll get this thing pulled out and put the new one through. So see, what happened was, this is the hood release cable. And when I was taking this thing apart and everything, it was stuck in some places where I couldn't get the cable to go through. And so instead of just messing with it, I just cut it so I could pull it off of there, thinking, you know, it'd be fine. But as it turns out, these cables are discontinued. So that's unfortunate. I have heard though that the regular Lancer hood cable will work with this. So I've been trying to order one of those or find one cheap. I found one. It was like $30 to ship it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna pay $30 for a $20 cable to ship. So trying to figure that out. I haven't decided yet if I want to run the hood release cable or we just do like a painted carbon hood with like some arrow catch pins or whatever in there. So haven't decided that yet, but we gotta get this thing out of here now. And so we're just gonna probably cut it the rest of the way out and then we'll just pull it through the inside of the car. But yeah, that was a unfortunate error on my part to just cut it and not think about it being discontinued. So oh well. I will say this, it does feel pretty exciting to be back into the inside of the car and actually working on things inside of here. I just hope that we can remember where everything goes, where everything plugs in, all that kind of stuff, because it has been a while. I got the cable taped to the new cable, trying to pull it through now. There we go. I might need to put some alcohol on this cable so I can pull it through a little bit easier. These things are not, tacky is the wrong word, but they are very hard to pull through rubber boots. Get it a little bit wet with some alcohol and it should slide right through, spray a little bit into the boot. Alcohol I've always used for things like that because one, it dries super fast and well, that's really it. It just dries super fast. So we'll pull it and there we go. Coming straight through. Now we're running the, if you've never done this, which I'm sure most of you have because I've been down the road of running the small batteries a long time ago and they were just, I'm just not a big fan of them. I don't like them. They don't hold charge. They die all the time. For if you're running like, not like we're running a bunch of stuff, but if you're running like all these gauges, we have like we have like 5 or 6 gauges that's going to be in here when we're done. Plus like not a massive sound system, but like enough to power some door speakers and whatnot. Those small batteries just don't have the juice to be able to run stuff like that, and they end up causing more trouble than they're worth from saving space in the engine bay. So I've been running the battery to my trunks for quite a while, and that is what is going on in this car. We run the battery to the trunk. There is a circuit breaker back there that will trip. It's like really close to the battery, and so we can just flip that switch on and off as like a little circuit breaker, and yeah, it works super well. We put it in the car a long time ago, but now I'm just trying to refine it a little bit. While we're on the subject of doing the battery cable for the front of the car, might as well do this as well because I'm excited about it. It's been in a box forever. This thing is the cover for the fusible link box that we're going to run, or we have been running, but we got a new cover for that, and we got a even better cover with some dry carbon fanciness. So I want to go ahead and stick this thing on there. They sent one piece of Velcro, so I'm assuming the one piece of Velcro holds this thing together, but I was under the impression that this thing fits over top of the current one, but this very clearly does not. So let me grab the fusible link box and let me see, because I was under the impression, like I said, that that fit over that. So maybe this thing just goes directly over the piece that we need. Well, look at that. That thing pops on right over that. So why send me the Velcro? You know what? It doesn't matter. That's how it's going to look. Looks super cool. We're going to be running that under the hood. We'll just put this thing back in the baggie. And yeah, forget that whole project just existed and you did not watch the last like minute of that. And ooh, looky there. That's actually a much cooler piece now than I thought it was, being as it's a full replacement. So that works. Okay, next, I guess it wouldn't hurt to throw on our MAP high flow cat. That way we can go ahead and plug in our wideband sensor and all that kind of stuff that goes into there, get all that buttoned up. I know it seems like I'm jumping around quite a bit today, but it's because I am. I told you there was a lot of little things that had to be done. And once you look at this, just from sitting in here, these nuts and bolts are already starting to get like surface rust and stuff on them. I'm not a fan of that. We're going to be ordering some titanium exhaust bolts here, but we'll use these now to go ahead and just pop it on there to get it to hold on there in place. But those are definitely going to have to come off. That's ridiculous. All right, next up on the list is a piece that has also been laying around for quite a while, but it needs to go on right about meow, so we can go ahead and plug it up and get it out of the way. It is a new EGT sensor, exhaust gas temperature. This plugs into our exhaust manifold. The gauge inside the car, it was kind of like, it would work, but it would kind of like bounce from time to time. And so I could tell it was kind of going bad, or I thought it was going to go bad. And so we've got a whole new sensor here. Actually, we got a whole new gauge and everything, because these are wildly expensive from Defi, or Defy, however you want to say it. And because just this sensor right here is like $200. And so I got the gauge and everything for around the same price. So couldn't beat that. So went ahead and picked up the whole thing, but all we need is this guy right here. So let's go ahead and plug this thing in and plug this thing in as well. Okay, that thing is now plugged in, goes in right there, kind of goes up and around and plugs in right back there. That goes inside the car, obviously. And so yeah, we should have a functioning EGT gauge now. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this off here. I'm not sure how it's gonna be in the video, how this is all gonna edit together, but as far as everything that was here, we got an absolute crap ton done today. There was just lots and lots of things to do, putting on like a lot of extra parts we had laying around, stuff like that, going through, making sure everything's tight, plugged in, all that kind of stuff, just double checking everything. And so, yeah, there was lots and lots of progress made today. We are super, super close to being able to put on the front subframe. There's some wiring on the back of the engine here that I want to kind of like get up out of the way and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get that done. We'll get that out of the way. The front subframe will go on, and then, I mean, suspension stuff should go right on after that. We got all new stuff with that as well, so it should go on relatively easy. Before or after that, we might put the dash and all that stuff in. I do want to get that stuff back in there, but there's going to have to be a video where it's just that and like wiring on the inside of the car, because there's so much. I know you guys are super excited about more wiring, but there's just so much to do in there as far as like tedious plugging everything back in. There's still some wires hanging around the front of the car as well that we have to work on. And so, yeah, just lots and lots of wiring. It's just one of those things where it is tedious, but I want to show everything. And so it's all stuff that just has to be done. So yeah, we are, I mean, inching ever so closely to a first start, and I'm getting super, super excited, very, very nervous. But yeah, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much. As always, if you got this far, if you guys have any comments or questions, drop those down below. I'll be glad to help much as I can, chat, whatever, and I will see you next time. Bye.